Good evening, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my beautiful rideshare revolutionaries. Y'all know who the fuck it is. The notorious one, the beard, the man, the myth, and the machine. And here was some very surprising news coming out of New York City. Like I've said before, I don't really like talking about things outside of my market, but I think this is a huge issue. And I'm not entirely in favor of it for what I think are good reasons. But obviously you guys are going to fight me on it no matter what. No matter what I say, some of you are going to be like, "Oh, fuck you, Gio. What do you know?" So let's get right to it. All right. So the headline of the article says, Uber Lyft drivers now guaranteed minimum wage in NYC. For those of you who don't know, NYC is New York City, right? The Big Apple. The Taxi and Limousine Commission voted Tuesday to voted Tuesday to create an hourly minimum wage for all rideshare drivers in the city, but Uber cautioned that the move will only cost riders more. Let's go back to that. The new rule, God, stupid New York Post. The new rule means that companies such as Uber and Lyft will have to pay their drivers a minimum wage for the first time, $17.27 or more than $4 more per hour than the city's current minimum for big employers. After expenses, the move comes after years of app drivers griping that employees were shortchanging them, and employers were shortchanging them, but you're not employees. Don't forget that. You're independent contractors. So, you know what? I don't want to read through this. I'm just gonna link the article. All right, because it's not very long. But the long and the short it is, rideshare drivers, Uber and Lyft, and probably Via drivers and whatever other apps are in New York will now be guaranteed a minimum wage. The pros: you will be making minimum wage. Now, one of my revolutionaries, what the hell's his name? Keith? I thought his name was Red. He did send me this. He sent me this. He got this off the New York City TLC website. He said, covering driver expenses and ensuring minimum compensation. The non-WAV formula requires a minimum payment of 0.631 for each mile of a trip divided by the company's specific utilization rate to cover a typical driver's expenses such as vehicle purchase or lease, fuel, maintenance, and insurance. Given their purchase and operating costs, wheelchair-accessible vehicles have a higher per-mile rate of 0.818 divided by company-specific utilization rate. The formula also requires a minimum payment of 0.287 for each minute that the driver spends transporting passengers, divided by company-specific utilization rate to ensure minimum compensation after expenses, into working time without passenger. For a typical non-WA wheelchair-accessible vehicle driver, this results in gross earnings of $26.51 per hour and net income of $17.22 per hour after expenses. So, unless I'm completely wrong, drivers in New York City will be making $26.51 per hour gross. And then the minimum wage will be $17.22 net after expenses, right? Some of you, okay, for many of you, many of you, that seems like a good thing because you're like, well, you know what? I don't really make that much driving now. $26.51 seems good. You know, I barely make that on the weekends or something like that. So for some of you who haven't taken the time to master your market, who aren't that great at this, brand new to this, you know, or just don't really implement strategy, this is a good thing. You're probably going to make a little bit more money with just the minimum wage, right? But I think okay, I don't want you guys to think I'm against drivers when I say this. I am a driver. I love drivers. But I think one of the issues drivers have is they want to have their cake and eat it too, right? So if, like, for example, with upfront pricing, if they notice on a fare detail that a passenger got charged $60 and they made $25, most drivers aren't upset that the passenger got charged $60. They're more upset at the fact that they didn't get a piece of that $60 pie or a big enough piece of that pie. So with that in mind, I don't know how this is going to work. are New York drivers are all of them going to be locked in at making this flat amount of money? Or are they still, like, if this is the least you can make as a driver, then that works. I'm in favor of it. Then this works. If this is the most you can make as a driver, then I'm like, this is pure trash. And I'll explain to you right now. And like, I've never driven in New York. I don't know what your bonuses are, but let's imagine for a second you get, I mean, this already passed. This will be implemented next year. This passes. Uber and Lyft, well, no more bonuses. No more consecutive trip bonuses, no more Quest bonuses, no more primetime bonuses, no more Boost. Why would they offer them? They don't need to. So those of you who make, I mean, I usually make $25 an hour from just driving. My bonuses usually increase my hourly average, right? That's just me, not all of you. So bonuses, quests, whatever, gone. Because those are meant to incentivize drivers to be on the road. Now, since you guys are getting a locked in amount of money, they don't have to incentivize you anymore. I had 3 things against this. Oh, the other thing I said is, the other thing I was thinking was, I got a headache. Now Uber and Lyft, now they can get away with charging the passengers whatever they want. They can charge the passengers. You guys, I mean, if you guys are complaining about like the surge now, just wait until this happens. Like, look, you're going to see your fare details. They're going to price gouge the fuck out of these passengers now. Because you guys, the drivers, chose to take a minimum wage. You chose a locked in number rather than, making per minute per mile. So if passengers are paying surge, you guys aren't getting any of it because you agreed to this. So that's a big no-no to me. I'd rather take surge rides than a minimum wage. That's just me. I had one more thing on my mind. Maybe it would come to me. No, I mean, this gives control to the apps. All right. So the TLC Commission passed the driver cap, which kind of shot Uber in the foot. Now they just gave, in chess, how like if you make it to their line, you get a piece back. Uber just got back their queen. Uber and Lyft. You guys took their queen and then you gave it right back. Because like I said, this is just first impressions. This is from what I'm reading. Because it doesn't say anywhere in the article that drivers, even if they make more than minimum wage, will get to keep what extra there was. So if that's the case, fine. Then this is a big win for drivers. If that's not the case, if you're locked into minimum wage, then you guys are now, that's the third. Okay, that's the other thing. This is the third reason why this is not beneficial to drivers. Let's say, so you guys get the minimum wage. Now you have to drive their way. Your acceptance rate will have to stay high. Your cancellation rate will have to stay low. You're going to have to keep the app on in fucked up areas of the city, which I know New York has fucked up areas of the city. You're not going to be allowed to operate the way an independent contractor would. Now you have to drive their way. I guarantee you're not just going to get a minimum wage just like that. The apps are going to make really strict requirements to come along with it. I already know. So, I mean, let's look at my app really quick, shall we? I mean, oh, what's this? I got a tip. Okay. So, look at that, guys. I have a 50% acceptance rate. I don't take every single ride. I'm very picky with my rides, especially during the morning rush. On the weekends, I pretty much take everything unless there's like a big event and I'm waiting for that 45 plus surge. But during the week, I'm very picky with rides. On the weekends, not as much. But now, if this was New York City and I was a minimum wage driver, I would have to, your acceptance rate will probably have to be like 95%. You probably have to take every single dog shit ride. So those of you who complain about Why should I have to take these? Why would I have to take these stupid $3 pool rides? Well, guess what? Now you have to. Now it's not a choice. Now you sacrificed freedom for minimum wage. So that's why I'm not in favor of this. And like I said, this is good for some of the driving community, but I think this gives so much leverage back to Uber and Lyft, and the other apps. You've given so much power to the apps now, and you've just given them a free pass to just rake in money, because you're only getting paid a minimum wage. They're gonna be collecting $60 an hour from what they're charging the passengers. So, I mean, me personally, I'd be mad at that, but that's just me. You guys are free to feel different, which I know you will. And that's all I got for this one, guys. Everyone, please stay safe, stay driven, stay classy, stay bearded. And I'll definitely talk to you guys next time. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.